Okay, so the start of the Eagles season is just a week away, and Howie Roseman isn't messing around, as he just went out and made another surprising move by signing a promising recent high draft pick to add on to the defensive line, and this might just end up being a very underrated pickup. Meanwhile, we just got a massive update on safety Sidney Brown, as he seems to be getting closer and closer to being fully healthy and returning to the field. Plus, Jahan Dotson revealed what he's been focused on just after arriving to Philly, while DeVonta Smith is excited about the addition to Dotson, and the Packers defensive coordinator spoke about facing the Eagles' extremely talented offense. So let's talk about that and all the other latest Eagles news starting right now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Philly Fan 21 channel. If you're new, I'm Evan and I cover all things Philadelphia Eagles. And man, we are getting so close to having some actual Eagles regular season football, as we're just officially 1 week away from the Birds season opener down in Brazil versus the Green Bay Packers, and there's just so much to be excited about. I mean, for starters, things feel even more real now that the Eagles have revealed what uniforms they're going to be wearing for the matchup, as they're opting for their white jerseys along with their black pants and their black helmets, which is pretty cool because this is a combo that we've never seen them wear before. But on the other hand, this definitely did make it seem like the no wearing green thing down in Brazil was true, but the Packers also revealed what jerseys they're going to be wearing, and it's their normal green and yellow. So I don't really know why the Eagles decided to go with this combo, but again, I think it's pretty cool. But aside from that, there's still so many more reasons to be excited, whether it just be the start of a new season for the Eagles, or the fact that this might just be the best matchup in week 1 across the entire league, or that it's on an international stage in the first NFL game in Brazil ever. I mean, there's just so many storylines to follow, but for the Eagles, while understanding this is a great opportunity to grow the game internationally, rightfully, they don't really seem to be focusing on those external things. Well, at least the star wide receiver duo of A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith don't seem to be, as when they were asked about going down to Brazil, they both made it clear that they're pretty much just focused on football and getting the win and nothing else.
Have you focused on Portuguese at all, or tried to learn any Portuguese?
No, because we had a meeting yesterday, and it was like a whole bunch of don't do's, and so I'm just trying to go down there, win a football game, and come back home. That's the best way I could put it. You know, we're professional. This isn't my first game, but it is my first game out of the country. So you just gotta put all that into a factor and just try to navigate through that the best way you can, and ultimately, you know, what we down there to do. We down there to win a football game.
What were you told not to do?
We're not down there to see the city, do all this other stuff. This is not a vacation. This is it's a football game.
What are your thoughts on playing in Brazil, going this great distance to play a game?
No comment.
Really? Not excited? You're not?
It's football. Just line up.
Now, this is really no surprise. I mean, both of these guys are very similar in the sense that they're super dedicated to their craft, and the thing they care about more than anything during the season is winning football games. So I wouldn't expect them to have any other mindset, even with all the commotion about them going to Brazil. And of course, the Birds' opponent in this week 1 international matchup is dealing with all the same noise and type of distractions that the Eagles are facing, with, of course, that team being the Green Bay Packers, but they seem to be pretty locked in too ahead of their matchup with Philly, and specifically their first-year defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley seems pumped to get out on the field in Sao Paulo to deploy his new look Packers defense, and one that he hopes is much better than last year's group that was ranked 23rd in points allowed. And Hafley recently seemed to send a message, as while he knows that he does have a challenge ahead of him to try and stop the Eagles' stacked offense, he is not backing down and he's confident in his defense.
Yeah, they're big up front. They got good running backs, 2 really good running backs. They got a really good receiver core with good size and speed. The tight ends are good players, and the quarterback is dynamic. I mean, that's always going to be where you look first, right? The plays that he can make both in the pass game and with his feet, that would be the biggest challenge. Combined with, you know, everything else they can do in the run game, and with the receiving group that they have. It's a good group, talented group. I mean, for me, it's like this. It's just like I talk to the players, and I mean this. We're going to work really hard up until the time we kick off, and my sheet's going to be in front of me, and I'm going to let it rip. And then we're going to call it, we're going to play fast, and we're going to be physical, and I'm not going to hesitate on the call. We're going to get it in quickly to the quay so they can look out and see what the offense is coming out in, and we can go line up and play. Once that starts, maybe I'll be a little anxious before kickoff, but we're going to work to the point where we're prepared. I trust the players, I trust the staff, and I just got to go call it, and they got to go play and execute. And I cannot wait for that to happen.
You know what? You gotta respect that, especially coming from a first-year NFL coordinator. That being said though, good luck to him, because he's got just about as impossible of a task as a first-year defensive coordinator can have in his first game, going up against an offense that features stars and high-level players across the board. And the most recent addition to that star-studded group is of course Jahan Dotson, which still is just so insane due to the fact that the guy's a first-round pick from just 2 years ago, and in most other offenses, he would be a much more featured guy, but in Philly, he's just going to be the third wide receiver and the fifth offensive option. And as AJ Brown laid out yesterday, Dotson is going to have the opportunity to consistently go up against lesser competition with most of the defensive attention going to other guys. So he should be able to make the most of those opportunities and dominate in his role. And DeVonta Smith certainly seems confident that he's going to be able to do that, as not only is he excited about the addition, but he also revealed that Dotson reminds him of himself a little bit.
I think it's a great addition. Me personally, I've always been a big fan of him. Studied his college tape, studied what he's done past 2 years. I've always been a big fan. I think it's going to be a nice addition to the room. The way that he runs routes, the releases he does, and things like that, I feel like we're kind of similar.
It really does seem like pretty much everybody is excited about the addition of Dotson and is super high on him, and that's for good reason. I mean, again, it isn't like Dotson is one of the top receivers in the game, but he is a really good player that has a very high ceiling, so not only does he have the chance to come in here and dominate while opposing defenses aren't necessarily going to be putting all of their attention on him, but he's also going to have the chance to develop over the years and learn from guys like AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith. And if Smitty sees some of himself in Dotson, then that should tell you that he's got great ability and a very valuable skill set, and it just makes me even more excited to watch Dotson for the first time in an Eagles uniform out there in week 1. However, the first order of business for Jahan before that happens is just to get the playbook and offense down, as he's got a lot of catching up to do after just getting here just a little over a week ago, but it seems like he's super locked in on doing that so that he's as prepared as possible for week 1.
You started with a great point. It's early. Right now I'm just trying to figure out my role in this offense. Really learning the playbook is my biggest thing right now. We still have a good amount of time till week 1, so making sure that I'm comfortable in the playbook and making sure that I'm able to play fast as possible. That's my biggest focus right now.
It really does sound like Jahan is a guy who's going to buy into whatever role he has in this offense. And right now, like he said, it's early, so he's just still learning, but it's great that he sounds like he's very focused, and I'm confident that he'll be about as ready as he can be when week 1 rolls around, and he'll be able to just be another solid weapon on offense for Jalen Hurts to go to. But now, moving on, Dotson isn't the only one who just got here recently and is going to have a lot of learning to do before the week 1 opener in Brazil, as the Birds just went out and made a surprising move by signing a very promising young defensive player to their active roster. And don't worry, we're going to get into that and so much more in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video and don't want to miss any Eagles coverage or content coming throughout this entire season, then make sure you guys subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. I think that's a win-win for the both of us, because not only do I get more people consistently watching these videos, but you don't miss any other Eagles coverage or content just like this. So again, subscribe, turn on notifications, and also drop a like. Let's see if we can hit 800 likes on today's video. Now with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So as I was saying yesterday, the Eagles made a very interesting and also pretty surprising roster move, as they were able to claim former third-round pick defensive tackle Byron Young off waivers while also releasing defensive tackle Marlon Tuipulotu. Now, first off, I would assume that they want to get Tuipulotu back on the practice squad, and maybe by the time this video is out, they've made that move already, or maybe he's signed elsewhere, who knows. But getting back to Young, this is a very interesting signing by the Birds, as he was just drafted in the 3rd round in last year's draft, so it was certainly a bit of a surprise when the Raiders cut him, especially since he was on the initial 53-man roster, but the Eagles clearly liked him because they were immediately on it when he was let go, and now he's obviously been signed to not the practice squad, but the 53-man roster, so that should tell you how they view him. Now, in his 1 NFL season with the Raiders, he struggled for sure, as he appeared in just 6 games and only registered 4 tackles in very limited playing time, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have ability, as during his time at Alabama, he was a really good player for them on the defensive line. As ahead of the draft, it was said that Young was ready for the physicality of the NFL and ready to play all 3 downs. Plus, his strength and leverage that he played with was also considered to be impressive, and his ability to take on blockers and still stop the run and make tackles was also noted as a strength of his as well. Plus, he also flashed as a pass rusher at times, especially in his senior season where he got 4 sacks. Now, that's not saying that Young doesn't have his weaknesses, as his lateral movement wasn't all that great, and he was very raw and someone that relied on his ability to just overpower guys in college, so he definitely has to develop more of a bag to be an effective rusher in the NFL. But overall, Young is a promising young player that, if the Eagles develop effectively, could be a solid contributor as a rotational lineman on their defense. So overall, I really do like this signing, and I think it's a low risk, high reward type of move. Now, I'm definitely not putting super high expectations on it or anything like that, but I still definitely like it. So what are your guys' thoughts on this signing? Give me all your opinions down in the comments below. But now, moving back to the wide receiver room and the guy who could possibly be the secret weapon of that group, we look at Britain Covey, as even though he's not going to have a super big role in the offensive side of the ball with the acquisition of Jahan Dotson, he is still yet another weapon that the Eagles have in that room, with a valuable skill set as a slot receiver who, when he gets the ball in his hands, can be very dangerous. But perhaps what's even more valuable is his impact in the locker room, and DeVonta Smith actually spoke about that yesterday in his press conference.
He's a phenomenal person, phenomenal player. Just the relationship, it's more than just football. What is us talking about, the kids and things like that, or anything else. He's the light of the room. In the room, he's the guy that's always keeping the spirits up. No matter if anybody's having a bad day, he's going to be the guy to always make sure that everybody in the room is having fun, that whoever it is that may be down a day, that he doesn't continue to let them feel that way.
Yeah, I know this may not be the grabbiest news out there, but I just feel like whenever there's something out there about Britain Covey, I feel like I just have to mention it, because he's the epitome of a guy who, despite not having all the physical tools or the freakish traits that some of these other guys have, he just works extremely hard and approaches every single day being positive and focusing on what he can control. And according to Smitty, he's also a fantastic locker room guy, and it's led him to where he is now, being a lock to be on the roster and the team's fourth receiver and punt returner. And I'm just personally really rooting for him to have a ton of success this year. And someone else who I'm going to be rooting for going forward in his career is the rookie running back Will Shipley, and he recently made a very nice change as he switched his number from 39 to 28, which is a massive upgrade in my opinion. And again, this is just another guy that I am excited about and think can make an impact in whatever role that he's given. And I feel the same way about the safety Sidney Brown, as I think he's a super talented player who brings a type of physicality and energy to the Eagles defense that they desperately need, and whenever he returns from injury, I think Vic Fangio absolutely has to find a way to get him out on the field consistently. And speaking of Brown returning from his injury, it seems like he's getting even closer, as in my video yesterday, I talked about a video that he posted of himself going through a drill, and also a glimpse that I caught of him in uniform during Wednesday's practice. But what I unfortunately missed was all the footage from yesterday and Thursday's practice showcasing Brown even more, as he was once again out on the field in uniform, and even though he wasn't a full participant or doing team drills, a lot of what he was doing was really promising, as he was mainly seen sprinting and doing punt coverage, and even with the brace on that knee, he was moving really fast and really smoothly. And this is the first time that we've seen Sid doing anything like this since the injury, so it just seems like he's getting more and more healthy by the day and nearing a return. Now, he's still almost guaranteed to start the season on the PUP list and miss the first 4 games, but it's definitely a great sign that he seems to be getting even more healthy and fighting to return as fast as possible. But now, getting to some breaking news from today, the Eagles announced their captains for the 2024 season, and they are Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, AJ Brown, Darius Slay, Jake Elliott, and the one first-timer on this list is Jordan Mailata.
All right, here's your captains. Lane, Jordan, AJ, Jalen. Slay, BG, Jake. This is your guys' team, right? This is your guys' team. We need you to lead it.
So huge congrats to all those guys, and they definitely all deserve it. Little extra shout out to Mailata for being a first-time captain. Now, I am a little surprised about there being no DeVonta Smith, who was a captain last year, or Saquon Barkley, who quickly became a leader for the Birds since getting here, but there's only so many spots to go around, obviously, and again, all the guys that were selected definitely deserve it, so again, congrats to them. Now, the Eagles season is about to start in just a week from today, and you guys already know that I'm going to be covering everything from that, and also just all the Eagles news throughout the entire season, so if you don't want to miss any of that, again, make sure you guys subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded, and also make sure you guys drop a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really does help me out a ton. Again, let's see if we can hit 800 likes on today's video, and also if you want to show some support even more, leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video, and if you want to watch another video going over how Jalen Hurts is taking even more control over the Eagles offense in one key area, among other things, you can check this out right here. And now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys, so thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.